Drive Energy Wednesday Hump Day edition. We're talking about dynamic duos. And obviously 1A today is us, clearly. 1A, 1B.
The most dynamic.
The most dynamic of all the duos, the Smith Bros. It's too bad there's like too many companies already called that.
The Smith Bros.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have a shirt on from the Smith restaurant. Remember we got those in Chicago?
Great spot in Chicago.
Great restaurant. You can't go wrong. Like the Smith name is just a great name.
Yeah, you never have to tell anyone how to spell it, I think, is one of my favorite things.
No, I've seen what would a Y with
some people give you
if it was with a
Ryan
Y,
Smith.
would it be Smythe?
No, apparently that's still Smith. They're
So-
just not as cool as us.
I think that's like Australian. Like I think I've only seen Australians named Smith with a Y.
Yeah, and I guess SMYTHE could be a thing too.
Smythe.
That could yeah, Conn Smythe, actually. Good point.
Yeah.
Great point.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about dynamic duos because it's Zurich Classic week, the only partner engineered tour event. You like that? You like that?
Engineered?
Yeah, that's just what came to my brain.
Sure.
Came out.
Whatever you say.
We're also going to talk about the new PGA Tour investment that is giving back equity to the players, which is interesting. Another battle that they're trying to fight, giving the players some more money in hopes that they don't take it on the 54-hole tour. Also, the weekly Fairway or Fore. All right, let's tee it up. Dynamic duos, buddy. We are one of them. in multiple ways.
Jamal Murray and game-winning shots.
Oh, Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic.
Well, I think get more creative, bro.
Well, all right. Before we get into the dynamic duos and we start arguing, and Marissa puts a birthday hat on one of us, she sounds like she forgot it. We're safe one more week. I forgot to mention in our Winner's Circle Monday that I won my simulator golf league.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. Are you like? Does this make you a legit golfer now? That you won the sim golf league?
No,
because I think there is a faction of people out there that actually like list a simulator golf championship as their accomplishments.
I meant to bring in my trophy. I didn't.
It should be your profile picture on Twitter. Why is it not just the trophy? You should just post that.
It was a pretty fire trophy, but I will say don't get me wrong, it's not real golf, and you can't replicate the electricity of like a real golf playoff, but it was intense. So
I heard you shit the bed.
I kind of, yes. I was the kid in the group.
I'm gonna give you the opportunity to like, because you sounded like you redeemed yourself a little bit, so
Yeah.
I don't just want to shit on you. But initially, it sounded like you wet the bed a little bit.
I wet the bed a little bit. I was the kid that got an A on the group project with doing minimal work. Shout out to my teammates, RK and John, carried us. But the crazy thing is so normally when you play a simulator match, it's in the same bay. You're in the same bay as the person you're playing. Well, this one, they were trying to get it done a little quicker because it was semifinals and then finals in the same night.
Oh, so you weren't in the same bay?
So we were not in the same bay as the team we were playing.
You didn't tell me that. That changes everything.
Yeah, it made it a little hard because we couldn't really tell where we were at. And I didn't want to know, I
was going to say, I think it makes it easier because you're not like going head to head watching shot for shot.
Correct. So I had to play a 0, and I am a 3 handicap on the simulator golf league. Whoa. A 9-hole handicap.
So, so you're an actual 6.
Yes, I think basically that's how it looks.
You're a hooper.
I'm great at simulator golf. Clearly, have had some rough rounds, no doubt. But I was getting 3 shots against the guy I was playing, which makes me feel dirty. I hate it. I don't like getting shots. But
you like taking shots?
Yes, I like taking shots, not getting them. The guy I played was a 0. I was getting 3, and they fell on the first 2 holes, I want to say, and the 7th hole. So the first 2 holes I make par. I'm like, okay, I'm 2 up. This is just me in my brain. Like, I'm 2 up. We have to basically win outright because there's no net team point in the playoffs. It's just 3v3. You got to win, 2 points. So it could be a win in 2 halves. It could be, whatever, however it ends up coming out. So I thought I was up 2. I think I made 1 bogey here or there. And then I got to 7 and I made birdie. And so I was like, oh, that's absolutely birdie net eagle. I hate saying that out loud, but it is what it is. And so at that point, I was like, oh, I've definitely won. Like I'm 2 or 3 up at this point because I just kept making pars. I only made 1 bogey and then the birdie. And so
Real quick, I hate to cut you off, but this is like my personal hell.
Yeah,
You're going shot for shot.
No, I'm not.
I have like hold music going on in the background of my head right now. So just make a long story short here. Let's wrap it up.
I'm trying to wrap it up. So we get to the 8th hole, I make bogey, and then 9th hole, I made a mess of it. I made a 9. But I thought my match was already over.
You're not even make fucking big numbers anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I hit like 2 shots, just unreal shots that I didn't think were deserving of the result they had. But so we end up then having to match scorecards. I lost my first match. RK won his, and John, even though he stumbled in the last 2 holes, ended up tying his match. So we go to a 1-hole playoff, stroke play, all 3 players together.
Like it's just a combined score.
Just a combined score, and we get a stroke because our handicaps were so much higher than these dudes. And this is where my electricity came in. I hit one of the furthest, best drives of my life. It's a simulator, but I had one of the best ball speeds I've ever had in my entire life. And I also hit it on a fucking rope, just dead straight.
Okay.
End up making birdie on the playoff hole.
Were you like a little drunk at this point?
Yes, I'd had quite a few captain and diets at this point.
Okay.
I ended up Ubering home that night after driving there. But this was my claim to fame, was the 1 hole. I made birdie. They ended up having 1 or 2 guys that rinsed it. So we got our stroke back. John rinsed his tee shot actually in the playoff hole, which was a little unnerving. It was a tough par 4. We played the Olympic course, which was cool. I thought it was a cool little...
Play golf nest, you know?
Yeah, it was
That's
cool
a tough track.
The first hole is tough. It's water all down the left. It's a very tight... I shouldn't have hit driver, but I was like, fuck it, I'm hitting driver.
Well, I think like the last 3 holes are super tough too. Like very tight fairways, all water left. I don't know if it's along this... Maybe it is along the same pond. The closing holes are run along the same area as the opening hole.
I was seeing multiple screens by the time we got actually to the back nine for the championship. But long story short, we won the championship. It came down to the last hole. I played the pro from the Hangar Club. Shout out to the Hangar Club. Great spot, by the way. Best indoor golf place. If you're playing in a league or something like that.
One shot back, bro.
One shot back is legit. It's just
smaller scale.
Yeah. It's one shot back is better for the smaller scale and the cocktails settings, and the vibe. The vibe at One Shot Back is incredible.
Yes.
You're talking straight up big sim, like league places. I'm
big sim.
Big fan of
that's like big media, big sims.
Big sims. Fan of the Hangar Club. But I got waxed in the championship match. RK and John held on. The last hole, the guy rinsed a couple, and John had 185 in over the water. And I was like, brother,
he
hit
flew
a
like
wedge.
A foot past, right?
And I was like, hit a wedge. He didn't. He's like, I can't win that way. He ends up hitting it just over the water, clears it. We win. Take some winner shots.
Is John more clutch than you?
I mean, in that moment, 100%. I would say
that's pretty clutch.
Dude, well, the cool thing about golf, and this relates sim in regular. How many times did we watch tournaments that were semi-competitive? We're not talking we can even talk 4-person scramble, where you know where people are at and it's actually like a competitive event, and it comes down to like a 20 handicap doing something insane, and they do. Like the 20 handicaps have that innate ability to make like a 40-footer.
Yeah.
You never trust a scratch guy to do that. You trust him to hit it around and be clutch the whole way, but it always comes down to like a 20-25 handicap making an insane 40-foot putt to win. John, as a 20-ish, made an insane 185-yard shot over the water that he shouldn't have even hit, and came out with the win that way. And it felt good. It felt good to win. I am lying. It felt horrible because I was literally a fucking heel the whole day, other than the playoff. Other than getting us to the championship and making birdie in the playoff, I was a heel. But we won. We are part of the winner's circle, and I forgot to mention that I was just so enamored with Scotty Scheffler and Nelly Korda.
What did one of our friends say when you posted that? Was it a tweet or an Instagram story?
I shared an Instagram story that I was tagged in.
And he said,
never post this again.
Yes. Simulator golf is fun. It's a good time. Don't get me wrong. But I think we've said it quite a few times as of recently. It's just not real golf. Like it's great for practice. It's great for other things. But ultimately being on the golf course is what really where the rubber meets the road type shit. Like you got to pull off these shots on an actual golf course, but it's a good like stepping stone. But when you're looking for a dub, you take the dub.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it felt like I always feel a little dirty playing in those things because I'm PGA and I know, like you're going to shit on me. And I'm not saying that I think it matters.
I get it.
I'm
but you're
I'm not
technically
near
a
as
pro.
good as half the people there, but theoretically,
half the people there.
well, that's just me just me guessing, but I'm just as good as everybody else there or the best players there.
Yeah.
I have no advantage by being a pro, but I was worried that somebody would say something at some point, but then I played the guy that ran the league and it made me feel a ton better about the entire situation. So
that's good.
Yeah, so Winner Circle Monday, we should have included the Putt Pirates. That is us.
Were there any other like good team names that you remember?
Ooh, actually, I can find a few.
I feel like there's some pretty clever golf team names, like the Cleeks. Cleeks are a good one. The Smashers, the Four Aces, the Range Goats.
All right, here's the team names: Just the Tips, Sultans of Swing,
okay,
Coconut Bangers Ball,
whatever that is.
May the Course Be With You. That's kind of funny.
Good.
Golf and Titties.
That's good. What do we like, boys? Golf and Titties.
Hazel Rockets. That's kind of funny. 2.5 Men. So I wonder if they had like a short dude on their team and just completely trolled him. The dude we played the first week that was just off the rail, not Campbell or Markle or whatever the fuck that guy's name was.
The one that I met?
Yeah, no, the dude that completely ruined that one day.
Oh, that was like doing drugs in the bathroom and shit.
They had the other team that we played the first week. Dude was just pounding this Asian dude that just like kills it, and their team name was Asian Airlines, and then just put it in already, and then last place D's Nuts. So I think Putt Pirates is the most clever. Let's be honest here.
May the Course Be With You is pretty good. I was just thinking, like, how hard pressed are you for a good time if you're like doing drugs in the bathroom of a simulator? Like you're playing golf and I just don't. It sounds like they have a good time over there. Like,
oh yeah, it's definitely a bunch of like they're getting Thursday nights off. They have it's that thing where you realize once you have like a built-in thing and your wife knows, your family knows, like you're just gone from 6 p.m. to X.
Have you looked at any leagues at Inverness?
No, I can't play in anything.
Oh, because you're PGA.
Yeah, like I definitely can't play in like a quote unquote serious.
But what if you carry a handicap?
I don't know. Maybe I'll ask.
Yeah, you should ask him.
I'm considering it, but I also I don't like being locked into something every single week because
you literally just talked about being locked into something.
No, I'm telling those like later in the evening, afternoon is a different story. But like if it's a day thing, I'm all over the place every day.
League play, you should be able to play at any time of day, right?
No, you would think so, but dude, most like that's how we ran our league, and that's how we were taught by the GOAT Justin Serbo how to run a league. And now it's a complete disaster at X course that we used to be employed at, and not everybody does it the way we did it. I guess we just did it too well.
You're fucking up.
Nobody can.
Can't do it like we could.
Nope, nobody can.
All right, should we get into dynamic duos?
Yeah, let's talk about some dynamic duos. This week is the Zurich Classic, so it's 2-man teams.
Honestly, one of the most fun tournaments to watch.
It really is. I think people are like shitting on it because it's they're saying it's like an off week scenario, but I think for the players, it's PGA Tour event. You get a PGA Tour win if you win this event, so it's not like some slapdick event that they just show up for.
It's not the Corrales Punta Cana fucking Billy Horschel special out here.
Oh, wow. That's messed up.
It's not any one of Tony Finau's wins. This is a real tournament.
This is a real tournament. Fucking alternate shot. Get after it.
Dude, but like you said, I think the players probably look forward to this more than just about anybody. And one of the other cool parts that they do too is you can, I think you can, if you're on the PGA Tour, you can select whatever partner you want. So there is somebody, I forget who it is, but they're playing with Russ Cochran, who's like almost 70 years old, and he was a very good player in his day. He was a guy like I grew up watching and was probably just on the senior tour, still kind of on the PGA Tour like 20 years ago, but now he's almost 70 and he's participating in this.
Yeah, he hasn't played a tour event in 11 years, I think is what I saw.
That's like, remember Dick Mast? That like 70-year-old that just whoops a bunch of younger kids' asses. This is like, if Russ Cochran beats you, it's time to give it up. But what I was getting at is if you have, I don't even think you need status on any tour, because Alex Fitzpatrick last year playing with his brother, I don't think maybe he had DP World Tour, some sort of status, but I don't think you necessarily need status to play in this. So we've got quite a few dudes that are, either DP World Tour or on the Corn Ferry coming up because they're selected as a partner. Like maybe that should be I should try to befriend like a mid-level PGA Tour player and just worm my way into his life to the point where he invites me to play in the Zurich Classic with him. And then I go out and just shoot 85 and never to be heard from again. Like I would just disappear. Well, but how fire would that be?
It would be fire. And so everybody thinks that they're taking the week off. We're not taking the week off. We're watching the Zurich Classic. We're also betting on the Zurich Classic with Bet365. That is the app that we use every single week to bet on golf. They have the best odds. They also make it super easy in the golf world to bet on the each ways. We select each way 1 through 12. What that does is it splits your bet, or it doubles your bet, excuse me. You put your units in, it doubles that, puts one bet on that team this week, team or player to win. Also puts one bet on them to place in the top 12 is what we usually select, but you can go down to 5, 8, 10, etc. Each way betting is definitely the best way to bet golf because it's fun to bet the winners. And yeah, we've gotten a winner. Shout out Akshay Bhatia, just helping us out this year, keeping our units alive. But last week was a perfect example of Brian Harmon shooting 65 on Sunday, sneaking into the top 12 and winning some money. So it doesn't bury you right off the hop. It is sad when guys like Ludwig Aubert, who were doing well last week, and then they end up finishing in the top 12, but it doesn't make that bet feel as bad, even though he didn't win the tournament, because you're still getting a little coin from Bet365. Make sure to check that out. Use the code ALLCITY in all caps when you sign up. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Colorado. Also, when you need a moment to chill, I feel like I need a moment to chill today.
Seems like you're a little stressed out.
Yeah, I kind of like snapped at you. I really didn't mean to, but I just got a lot of shit going on. I'm leaving tomorrow for Phoenix, and like it's a work trip, but then I have work that still needs to be done outside of the work I'm going to be additionally doing there.
How many Coors Lights are you going to drink on the plane?
Probably a good amount. Well,
two?
Maybe one or two, because I actually drank on the plane the first time in a long time going to South Carolina. I normally don't drink on the plane.
You
I
always
drink
judge
before.
me for drinking on the plane.
I do. Yeah, I normally don't do it.
There is nothing better than sitting in an airplane seat and cracking a cold Coors Light.
That is true.
There's some like euphoric feeling about, well, it's always euphoric drinking Coors Light, but when you're sitting on a plane, I think the best part about plane rides is you have no other, like you have nothing to do. You have nowhere to go. Like that, especially you being a new dad and all that and being so busy, you should really appreciate plane rides. You know what I mean? Because your hands are tied. There's no going anywhere.
Right. Well, I'm like my son. I just hate being like restrained. I absolutely can't stand it. But I did two things that I normally never do on the plane ride to South Carolina. I drank and I pissed.
I was going to say you used the bathroom.
Those things are very directly correlated, but like I was sitting next to someone I didn't know.
Were you on the aisle?
No, I was in the middle.
Oh, that's the worst.
I was sitting next to someone on the aisle that I didn't know, and she was like laughing and speaking out loud to her iPad. So I was a little worried to ask her to get up.
Oh, okay.
But once I did, I got over that moment. It felt light years better, because once you start thinking about peeing on the plane, you're never going to be able to erase that thought.
Yeah. But I frequently do both of those things. I drink on the plane and I also use the restroom.
But I'm definitely going to be having some Coors Lights once I start my job. Well, once I
start working, I'm going to definitely drink some Coors Lights.
Once I get into, because I can't get the afternoon sleepies. I can't afford to do that. I'm going to be working all afternoon setting up. But once the NFL draft starts tomorrow, once that starts, I think I'm going to take a moment to chill, sit in the corner by myself. and enjoy.
Watch the Broncos butcher this draft.
Watch the Broncos butcher the draft. I'll be in Arizona, so Cardinals fans probably pretty excited to get a player at 4 or trade back, but then also trying to watch the Nuggets game at some point too.
True.
Sure
how blue do you think the mountains are in Arizona? Like, it's hot out. You got to keep those mountains blue.
Yeah, we're edging on the really hot summer season, so
it's going to be very warm down there. You make sure you keep those brewskis cold.
We'll be inside.
Where are you guys going to be?
Gila River Casino.
Oh, very cool.
So I'm staying at the casino. Surely nothing.
You gonna do a little gambling?
It depends upon what time we get done.
You got to go roll some bones.
I am playing golf Friday morning at Gila River Whirlwind.
Happy for you.
So that'll be fun. But when it's time to chill, Coors Light is the beer that I always reach for. When you want to hit the reset, grab the beer that is made to chill. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. All right, let's get into some other dynamic duos. So
I think I just thought of this. Let's throw out a few from each sport, because I think that I would say basketball probably gets the most love for duos. So low-hanging fruit right off the bat in the graphic, Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, 2 of our GOATs right now, 2 of our favorite players. Fire graphic, by the way, whoever did that. Marissa, thank you. They're just about as clutch as it gets. You know, Jamal Murray so his regular season, he averages like between 20 and 21 points over like the last 3 or 4 years during the regular season. In the postseason, he averages 28 a game.
And I'm definitely biased because I don't watch every other team's regular season then going into the postseason. I don't think I've seen a player that elevates their game more from the like. Sometimes this dude's never made an all-star team,
which is insane,
and averages anywhere between 17 and 20-ish points a game, 21 maybe. I think 21.2 was this year, which is like a career high for him. And he gets in the playoffs and is just an absolute. He's the Mamba.
Dog.
He's the Kobe level. Like, it's insane. I don't
very,
get it.
very clutch. Obviously, Nikola Jokic is also. Who do you think would be the better golfer out of those 2 if they played golf?
Well, remember one of our first ever episodes, we judged the Nuggets swings. Jamal Murray looked like he
had no clue.
Yeah, it was bad.
And that is the beauty of it is, I mean, golf we've mentioned, we talk about golf, but you hand anybody a golf club, like remember that video of LeBron at Top Golf? Looked like an absolute clown.
Well, shout out to our boys over at Broken Tee. KCP, who was actually at my simulator league on Thursday. I don't know if I mentioned that. And then DeAndre Jordan play a good amount of golf. So those 2, golf-wise, golf nuggets, handshake, dynamic duos, bottom handshake, KCP, DeAndre Jordan.
I like that. How long do you think DeAndre Jordan's clubs have to be?
I was literally just going to ask you the same question.
I bet his driver's got to be at least, 48 inches is regulation, like within USGA standards. He's got to use a 48-inch driver. So what is he, 6'10"? Is he 7 feet? Somewhere in that
He's
ball.
like 7 foot, 7'1".
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, his golf clubs are probably as tall as I am. That's fucking insane. What is KCP, like 6'4"?
6'6".
So big dude too.
Well, and that's the crazy thing about seeing KCP at the league is he dwarfs everybody in there, and he gets dwarfed the second he steps on an NBA basketball court.
He looks tiny. I mean, it's like the Steph Curry effect where everybody thinks Steph Curry's like 5'9", he's 6'4". Like, he just looks small on an NBA court. I guess another dynamic duo in their time. So I guess a few, because are we throwing out only current dynamic duos? Or
no, we can throw out all-timers.
Steph Curry, Klay Thompson.
Yep.
Great dynamic duo. Pippen, Jordan, obviously. All-time dynamic duo.
Kobe and Shaq.
I
think the best part about, like, there's always great players, right?
Yeah.
But I think the best part about dynamic duos is, like, how different in their own vacuums are Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic as people.
Yeah.
And then
they're opposites attract.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they get together as either one, like Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world, but as a duo, their
Jokic
power
elevates,
exactly.
They elevate each other's game. What about Rudy Gobert and COVID? That's one.
That's a really dynamic duo.
Yeah, or Rudy Gobert and microphones. Loves touching all of them.
He does love those. What about Jamal Murray and deleted Instagram posts.
Okay. Yeah. Jamal Murray's girlfriend and Kevin Durant's hairline. Pretty familiar. What about... my first thought was just in sports, beer and hot dogs.
That is
I don't give a shit what sport. Golf, football, basketball, baseball. Hot dogs and beer. Dynamic duo.
Those are the two things you can find at any activity, sporting event, anything that you do in the daily life.
If I can't get a hot dog and a beer there, I don't want to go.
That's fair.
Like the DMV, I'm going to have to go there pretty soon. No beer, no hot dogs. I'm out. Just not going to register my car. What other dynamic duos you got? I'm thinking baseball here.
So baseball's hard because it's like I looked up some like sports wise, and a lot of them are like Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig. But baseball, they don't really play off each other.
Mark McGwire and steroids.
Sammy Sosa and also steroids.
Corks. Sammy Sosa and corked bats.
What's some other good ones?
Mariano Rivera and the cutter.
Trevor Hoffman and the changeup.
Eric Gagne and Enter Sandman.
That is
Trevor. Was that Trevor? Was that Gagne? That shit still to this day just gives me the shivers thinking about him running in. Or who's the closer for the Mets?
Oh no, I know this.
Buddy and the Trumpet Song.
That song slaps so hard.
It's just gotten to the point though where it's slightly
Edwin Diaz,
yes. Now every team is like playing it. But that was the OG that definitely hit. Marissa, if any dynamic duos come to the top of your head, just throw them out there. We're open to all suggestions.
Baseball is harder. If we're going football, I hate to say this because it makes me sick, but Kelsey and Mahomes are.
I was gonna say Brady Gronk is the OG.
Brady Gronk's the OG. Kelsey and Mahomes are the new G. But they just don't. I don't want to get too much into it, but like when they lost Tyreek Hill, it was like they're cooked. Those two just have an innate ability to know where, like just like Jamal and Yoke, watching it in front of our eyes, like know where each other are going to be. There's no communication needed. There's no nothing. And I hate talking about the Chiefs.
It's just a connection like above. You know, there's certain tight ends and quarterbacks that have a connection. They have like a telepathy. They don't. Kelsey just finds the open spot and Mahomes just hits him. Like now I think we've gotten to the point where I don't hate Mahomes like personally. I just hate him because he's so good. So we're kind of there with, we were there with Brady and Gronk at a time. Now it's just Kelsey Mahomes. Going back to baseball, Coors Field and not pitchers.
Coors Field and any position player.
Yes. The Monforts and AAA players.
The Monforts and sub 300, 400 winning percentage.
Yes. The Monforts and money. That's really all they give a fuck about. Any more in baseball? What about, I feel like there's got Jeter and A-Rod, even though they kind of hated each other.
Yeah, that had to be one. That Yankees team was pretty gnarly. To me, it'd be like a pitcher-catcher scenario. But
I was going to say like the battery. Do you know what?
Like Adam Wainwright, Yadier Molina.
Okay. Or Adam Wainwright and who was their other all-time pitcher? Because then I think like Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Glavine?
Maddux and Glavine.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Wainwright and Carpenter.
Oh, yeah.
Wainwright, Carpenter, Matt Cain, and Tim Lincecum. That's one that is kind of niche. Like, you kind of had to be there. But when they were good, that was just like those two were just on. Like, they were beating everybody.
Right. I'm trying to think of other. Yeah, baseball, I think pitchers
You should be the one naming shit. I haven't paid attention to baseball in a decade.
No, all your recollections, like you coming up with Matt Cain is pretty.
Matt Cain, Tim Lincecum is a good. Yeah. What about Ken Griffey Jr. and his son?
Vlad Guerrero Jr. and his son.
There you go.
Or Vlad Guerrero Jr.'s dad, I should say.
Bo Bichette and
Dante Bichette.
Bichette.
Dude, so
Blake Street Bombers. It's more than a duo, but
we'll get to this a little bit later, but I also think one of the coolest parts of speaking on dynamic duos, this tournament is the fact that there's 3 sets of brothers playing in this.
Yeah, that's
and a PGA Tour event. That's the coolest shit ever.
The Cooties, the Hoygaards, and wait, don't tell me.
It's your pick.
Oh, and the Fitzpatricks.
Yeah.
Yes. It's you're like whispering like your face isn't right in a microphone. It's your pick.
Hey,
say it.
It's your pick.
But this, I feel like this pod, I'm really enjoying myself because it's just dudes naming guys, just throwing out. You know what I mean? Like this is what we would do for fun anyway.
Well, let me throw out the GOAT dynamic duo of all time. That's SpongeBob and Patrick. 100%.
Okay, you're going outside of the sports box. I like that. SpongeBob, Patrick, Fairly Odd Parents. They were a dynamic duo.
Yeah, but Timmy really made it.
But if you think about it, they actually were probably the most powerful dynamic duo of all time. Like they could legit fucking do magic. They could make things appear out of nowhere.
You guys got Bugs and Daffy, right? Daffy Duck.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that.
Shrek and Donkey.
Shrek and Donkey. Very good.
That's another example of just 2 completely different ends of the spectrum. If we're going animated fictional here.
Yeah. God, Gru and the Minions.
I heard somebody relate Nikola Jokic even more to Gru because all the minions
of
are
the
the
Lakers
because they're little and yellow. One of the
That's
greatest
so good.
all-time connections.
Okay, let's go a little more football. Brady Belichick. That's kind of a chicken and the egg situation. I think have we determined that it was Brady and not Belichick?
Yeah, we have. The world has.
Stay on the Patriots, Robert Kraft, and Thai massage places.
That is one hell of a duo.
That is a duo worth mentioning. Who else we got? Oh, never mind. I was going to say somebody else on the Patriots, but I'm going to leave that one.
Bet365 and Jonte Porter.
He was not betting with Bet365.
It had to be legal.
Well, that's true, but he was in Canada. Is Bet365 legal in Canada?
Well, it wasn't actually him.
It was a proxy. It was a proxy.
It was one of his buddies.
Oh, okay.
But
you got to think that how far removed, so it's Jonte Porter's buddy. Do you think it was directly his buddy, or do you think it was his buddy's buddy?
I think it was his buddy.
I think you got to go 3 removed,
to get away with that shit.
Jonte Porter's buddy has to find a buddy, and then that buddy has to find a buddy. Why the buddy pregnant? Do you remember that Lamar Jackson tweet?
Who was he talking about?
The emoji of the dude, the pregnant dude emoji.
Yes.
He's like, why the buddy pregnant? But no, you have to go 4 buddies removed in order. If you're going to pull that off, and you legitimately think that you can just have a friend do it and think that, because let's just be real, sports books, they kind of know where you're at, what you're doing at all times. And if they're about to pay you over $1 million, they're definitely going to want to know what the fuck you're doing, where you been.
Yeah, 100%.
Few red flags were raised at that time when Jonte Porter got hit in the shoulder he got hit in the eye and held his shoulder.
Oh, is there more?
Well, dude,
I haven't dove into.
He pulled himself out of the game with an injury, and he had the under on his own rebounds.
Allegedly.
He got hit in the eye, and he's like, "Oh my god, ow, my shoulder!" Didn't even get hit in the shoulder. Let's get back to duos.
Draymond Green and technical fouls. That's
Draymond Green and Jordan Poole throwing fists. Well, only one of them punched the other one. Okay. Caitlin Clark and GOAT being the GOAT.
Caitlin Clark and women's college basketball.
Yeah.
That's a dynamic duo.
Kate Martin. Caitlin Clark and Kate Martin. They were about as close as it gets.
Sue Bird and Brianna Stewart.
Okay. I like Sue Bird. I don't know. Just the discourse with Caitlin Clark really turned me off from a lot of.
I agree. But she is a legend.
Yes. No, I would agree.
Becky Hammon and NBA coach. That's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. I had a good one. Oh, well, the Williams sisters.
Oh, yeah. Serena and Venus.
Very dynamic.
Slightly off topic, but also on this. Did you see on our TikTok that we posted about Caitlin Clark and Nelly Korda.
Like the comments?
Yeah.
What I refresh my memory.
Somebody, this 40-year-old dude commented that he wasn't impressed by the WNBA because he could play in the WNBA and he's 40 years old.
Oh, yeah. He said they can't do anything I can't do. It's like, well, let's see you run, jump, not hurt yourself, shoot a ball. Yeah, I very, very far off. But the internet's beautiful in that way. Like,
People
people
probably honestly believes it.
Oh, 100%. There is a group of people relating it back to golf. Like, there's a 5 handicap out there that's like, if I played in the LPGA Tour, I would win or I would make the cut. It's like, no, you'd shoot 80 from anywhere. From 6,400 yards, it doesn't matter. You would be the last person in the field. Guaranteed. Oh God, I just had another good thought. What were we just talking about?
WNBA.
Before I lost it, it'll come back to me. UConn and women's basketball and UConn women's basketball and UConn men basketball and championships.
Yeah.
It's
UConn hoops
a throuple.
championships.
Yeah, there we go. You just combine them all. Okay. What other, we've covered kind of basketball, football, baseball, hockey.
Hockey is like
Nate and Miko.
I saw a tweet last night that was like, imagine how good this team's going to be when they get Jonathan Druin and Miko Rantanen back. Kind of in a shell of himself.
Yeah. Well, dude, he had a 100-point year, and I feel like he just doesn't get the respect he deserves. He scored 57 last year, so now he still had a 100-point year, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's not good." He's still pretty fucking good. Who else in hockey? I feel like hockey's tough too.
Hockey and like the number one hockey dynamic duo of all time is like Mark Messier and Wayne Gretzky, but that's like before our time. In our time, it's probably like Jonathan Taves and
I'm drawing a blank.
The
too.
winger for the Hawks.
Yes. Oh God,
this is bad.
We can't do that. Marissa, you have any idea who Jonathan Taves' partner was for those championships in Chicago? Oh my God, I'm drawing such a blank. How about Alexander Georgiev and saving pucks?
As of last night? Yes.
As of game 2, he magically figured out how to save a few pucks, which is great for us. The Avs-Red Wings rivalry, it's a great dynamic duo. Are you still not getting this?
Jonathan Taves and...
Holy shit.
Patrick Kane.
Oh my God. How did we forget that?
That's rough.
I feel like Taves is the more forgettable out of the two.
He's the captain, though.
But Taves...
I'm the captain now.
But Kane is still, like, pretty good. You know what I mean? Here's a great one for hockey. Canadian teams and not the Stanley Cup. It's been, over 50 years now?
I think 30.
I think it was the 70s, bro.
Really?
Yeah. Look, holy shit. Spencer's Google machine is just hot today. Last Canadian Stanley Cup, I want to say was in the 70s.
1992-93.
Who won it?
Montreal.
I was going to say the Canadians.
Patrick Roy.
Okay, so still 30 years, 30 plus years.
We in our lifetimes have not seen a Canadian Stanley Cup.
That is true, which is wild. Oh, yeah, I wrote down some more dynamic duos. Tiger Woods and Perkins waitresses.
Tiger Woods and trees.
Tiger Woods and prescription medication.
Tiger Woods and driving a vehicle.
That is not a dynamic duo. Tiger Woods and cruise control, a dynamic duo that we have yet to see that needs to happen.
Tiger Woods and Nike.
If
we had done this podcast like 6 months ago, would have been a good one.
Yeah. Tiger Woods team and shitty logos. Logos that look like they were drawn by a 6-year-old. Scotty Scheffler and the Bible. That is a dynamic duo because
that is literally unbeaten.
Yeah. Think of the power. Think of the power they have together.
Yeah, you talked about the power of the Fairly Odd Parents. Holy shit. Imagine what this guy does.
Literally moves mountains.
Let's go to another good golf dynamic duo. We actually have a clip for it. Let's go to Spieth and Greller.
Yep.
So on the thumbnail, This is I found so many good clips of this, but this is a great one. When this is a BMW Championship a couple years ago, Jordan Spieth is leading, and we'll let it roll.
Oh, and it disappeared. There it is. We back.
Let's
get into it and see. I just feel like that's a cool Tuesday, Wednesday shot. I mean,
I actually think it can do it. And I think that the downside is almost the same. Okay, this one's on me. All right.
Okay. All right. I trust you. All right, come on. Trust those instincts here.
It's a good number.
Yep.
Well, guys, if you've ever heard a caddy try and talk his player every which way possible out of hitting this shot, and you heard Jordan say it's on him.
Why does Greller even try?
Oh, this thing's floating. It's got to get up.
That was the shot that he didn't think he could hit, and that's what Greller was afraid of and trying to talk.
You guys call a rules official for me.
Oh my god, dude! That clip just perfectly encapsulates Jordan Spieth, and there's been a lot of discourse between Jordan Spieth, competing, and then his crazy rules, his situation at the Valero where he's hitting it over the clubhouse. Michael Greller, I've said it on the internet, and people, there is a weird area of the internet where people just love Jordan Spieth more than any other golfer. And James Beckett, number one, our little brother / former cart kid, everything. He's this Spieth stan, and I think there's actually a big group of them that I was unaware of. But do you think it's a generation younger than us? Because he's our age, so I don't think he can really be, our guy.
Well, I think that's his. When you think about it, Jamesy is probably 22 right now. So he's born.
He's not even 21 yet.
Oh,
I think he's just turning 21.
Jesus Christ.
Or he's almost 21.
Yeah, college, you think kids are older than
he's going to be a senior in college next year, which is insane. Because I remember the day the week he left for college. Time flies.
Time does fly. I think it's the era thing. Because, so he was born in roughly 2001, 2 or 3, theoretically. Yeah. Jordan Spieth was at the top of his game 2014, 15
when he was
12,
in high school.
Years old.
Yeah,
think about that's where we were when Tiger Woods was just dominating every single golf tournament.
Yeah, he was a little towards the back end, but pretty close. But see, Tiger's not my guy. I wouldn't really say I have a guy. Am I weird for not having a guy? Because I've had a few people ask me who my favorite golfer is, and I really don't have an answer for them.
I struggle with that same issue where people ask me who your favorite player is, and I don't want to say Tiger Woods because I feel like everybody says Tiger Woods, but then at the same time, he's the guy that got me into golf. I don't think there's a guy that I stan every single week though. Maybe we need to find our guys.
Do we need to just lock in on a dude? And that's the tough thing right now is there's just nobody worth hitching your wagon to besides Scotty Scheffler, and that's just the low-hanging fruit.
Well, I'm trying to hitch my wagon to him because it's fun to watch him win. It's fun to watch your guy win.
Yeah, well, that's true, but there's nothing fun about watching him win. It's it's just like going to the grocery store. It feels very transactional. It's not, there's nothing exciting about it. He just goes out, beats the shit out of everybody, and leaves. So I don't know, dude. It's just such a weird time in golf. I want to see, I think we need a good rivalry to spice up golf again.
Yeah, like the Tiger Phil.
Yes.
That was one of the greatest rivalries of all time.
And it kind of felt like Rahm and Scheffler had a bit of a rivalry, and Rahm ruined that. Another dynamic duo, Rahm and $500 million.
Allegedly.
Oh, yeah. Who knows the exact number? The TGL and flimsy ass party tents that they were going to try to build $1 billion league out of a fucking a stick and pole tent.
TGL Firefest.
TGL Firefest.
Handshake.
Yes. TGL actual fire. The tent lit on fire.
Oh, did it? I thought it just got blown over.
I think the tent lit. No, wait, that was a hospitality tent at a different event. Lit on fire like the day after everybody left. Do you not remember that?
No, I don't
It was
think so.
like late last year, early this year. They left a tournament, and then the next day it was on fire. It felt like somewhat of an arson situation. Like the golf course didn't pay their bills or some shit. They're like, let's just burn it all down.
Just burn this hospitality.
It may have been on the DP World Tour. I don't recall when exactly it was, but it did happen. We can't not mention the Corda sisters. I think they should have let the Corda sisters play in the Zurich. If you're going to allow partners, actually on the DP World Tour, they have a mixed event every year now, which is men and women. And they just announced that Nikolai Højgaard is playing in it. It's called the Scandinavian Mixed. It's pretty fire.
Sounds like a dog.
Sounds like a dog, a hypoallergenic dog.
A dog that you can definitely bring around anyone.
I think there's a dog that it's like a golden doodle, but for rich people. It's like hypoallergenic. I think it's called a Portuguese water dog. Well, yes, I knew that, but I'm saying I didn't mean to be rude there. I'm sorry. But it's like the Portuguese water dog is for people that like don't want to be like everybody else and have a golden doodle. I didn't say golden doodle. I said poodle. Well, yeah, but that's the part of the a golden retriever is not hypoallergenic. A poodle is. Thank you. She has like 8 dogs, and now she's trying to mansplain dogs to me.
She's woman-splaining dogs.
I have
Yes.
2 dogs. Thank you.
It feels like by the amount they injure you, you have like a whole gaggle of them. Like you've got at least 8 to 10. Because ooh, Marissa's getting annoyed with me. This is perfect. Okay, well should we make our actual picks for the week then?
Yeah, let's throw those up, and then we'll get to the fundraising round. The PGA Tour just started, and talk about the equity payouts, because that's some pretty interesting stuff coming the way of PGA Tour players in hopes to keep them around.
I have one more dynamic duo, just real quick. Greg Norman, Taylor Gooch. Both just heels that I like your response, just nothing.
Oh, I was thinking Greg Norman tight swimsuit.
Greg Norman, massive hog.
Greg Norman, the beach.
Greg Norman defrauding people out of their money.
Greg Norman paying for Masters tickets.
There you go.
That's so
Greg
funny.
Norman and Game Time. He's like, I need a hot deal
Greg
on this
Norman,
shit.
StubHub. That's
Okay.
actually really good.
I'm sorry, Marissa. Well, let's go back to our picks. I had to go Greg Norman route. Okay, Spencer, go for it.
All right, so I was going to blindly bet all 3 brother pairs because I feel like the brother dynamic is just too strong this week to not win.
But when you think about our dynamic in the golf course, do you really think they're going to do well?
Well,
These guys are obviously higher level.
I'm hoping that they act differently than we do towards each other.
I've been acting different.
Yeah, I hope they act way different than we do. So I'm taking the Cooties, Pearson and Parker, at plus 4,000. Taking the Højgaards at plus 1,400, Nikolai and Rasmus.
I think how cool would it be to hear them like ripping each other a new asshole in their language,
I think this
like bickering in Swedish.
Well,
or,
we talked about Spieth and Greller being a dynamic duo, and they're just a dynamic duo from like Spieth's had a good career, like as much as we shit on him.
yeah,
They're just a dynamic duo from an entertainment standpoint. I think this tournament specifically would be so great mic'd up to hear, because the caddy player, it's like, you're kind of the same, but like partner to partner, and especially like in this situation, brother to brother.
yeah,
Incredible. And then my last one was a pick purely off of just heart.
just vibes.
Keith Mitchell and Joel Damon. Like I was
Talk about 2 opposite dudes too. Like Cashmere Keith is dressed to the nines. It feels like he's going to the clubhouse in Caddyshack. You know how they were all they had all their jackets and shit on. He's got like the button down polo and the tour visor and all that. And then Joel Damon's just wearing a bucket hat and like casual shoes, all that shit. So yeah, they're kind of an unlikely duo, but both good golfers. Golf can connect people like that.
Yeah, and I feel like this is, Schauffele Cantlay is the 1A pairing and the favorite in this, but this is usually an event where you see a couple of guys that kind of need a tour win to really go through, come together as a team and then end up on the other side of like, oh shit, we wanted, we won and now we both get status for 2 years.
100%. I feel like this tournament for sure, we've had a lot of unlikely winners so far this year on tour. I think this week is going to be another unlikely winner. That's why I went with a few of the picks that I went with, because their odds are pretty damn high, and I feel like some pretty good value. Thank you. I'm right here. I'm right here. So I've got the Fitzpatricks plus 1,800, Alex and Matt. They played really well last year. They faltered on Sunday, but Alex has now got a year under his belt playing professionally over in Europe. So I think they're poised for a win. And Matt Fitzpatrick has kind of rounded into form recently. Kevin Kisner and Scott Brown, they've played well here before, if I remember correctly. And this is more from a vibes dynamic of like, they're like best buddies. They're both Aiken, South Carolina dudes. They're Southern guys. So plus 16,000, I was like, God, I think they could easily finish in the top 10. They've both obviously won on tour. If you're unfamiliar with Scott Brown, a little bit lower level player, but he won a few times, probably 4 or 5 years ago. And then Hayden Buckley and JJ Spawn, they're both actually playing some pretty good golf. They're both good players, and I just saw those odds that high, and I was like, let's take a flyer on these dudes. So
yeah, it's funny looking at. So I'm on the 2023 leaderboard, looking at just the pairings and then guys that have switched. So last year we were on Wyndham Clark and Bo Hostler, if you remember, in this tournament, and they were leading it for a while and ended up losing to Nick Hardy and Davis Riley. But Keith Mitchell, who is in my picks with Joel Damon, has gone from Sanjay Im to Joel Damon. That's quite the change in teammates there.
Is Sanjay Im playing?
I don't know if he's playing this week. Joel Damon went from Denny McCarthy to Keith Mitchell.
Okay. Denny McCarthy's still waiting for that win. Still can't get that dub.
All right, should we get to? So those are our picks. Bet365 app.
Those are our picks.
ALLCITY in all caps. Should we get to the new information from the PGA Tour?
Yeah, they're basically just giving dudes money to try to keep them around. Least surprising was Tiger Woods is the highest payout.
Yeah, so I'll read this real quick. So this is from Joe Pompliano on Twitter. Great follow in terms of like the sports biz.
Yeah,
like maybe the best follow.
Them in Front Office Sports.
Front Office Sports is great, and they have their I follow them on Instagram. I don't think I follow them on Twitter.
Yeah, no, just their Instagram, but great informational shit.
So, quote, as part of its recent $3 billion fundraising round, the PGA Tour will start issuing equity payouts to its top players today, according to Jay Corrigan Golf. Top projected payouts right now are $100 million for Tiger, $50 million for Rory, $30 for Jordan Spieth, and $30 for Justin Thomas. Two interesting names on there. These equity payouts will vest over 8 years, with 50% coming by year 4, another 25% in year 6, and a remaining 25% in year 8. Quote, also in here, these payments are small compared to what Liv has handed out. Tyrrell Hatton has a $60 million plus deal with Liv, but they represent an essential step for the PGA Tour. They will help them retain talent by locking up big name players with multi-year equity vesting agreements, like a startup. There will be little to no liquidity in the secondary market, so players can't take the payment, sell shares, and then jump to Liv for a larger check. And it could also expedite the PGA Liv merger. So
how do you?
So here's what it says. It says many people say it wouldn't be fair for live golfers to collect a huge check and then be allowed to join the PGA Tour again with no consequences, especially because some big name PGA Tour players turn down 9-figure contracts with live golf. However, this levels the playing field a bit, opening the door for live golfers to rejoin the PGA Tour with the idea that they could keep their live money because they won't be getting upside in this new for-profit entity. So anybody that comes back to the PGA Tour now is joining a different PGA Tour figuratively and literally than they joined when they were originally originally qualified for it.
No, that actually makes sense. I didn't really think of it from that standpoint, but I mean, whatever makes this merger happen quicker, I think that's really what everybody is waiting for. And it, in true PGA Tour fashion, they don't seem to get the timing right on anything. So I'd say I bet the merger happens sometime later this year after all the majors. They can't capitalize on any of it, and then everybody's got to sit around and
Wascally Wabbits.
sit around and wait. Sit
You've
around
been
and wait.
talking to
for
my kid too much.
Been talking to Sawyer too much. Everybody's got to sit around and wait to see what the new tour looks like until like master season of next year and major season. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think
It's going to be like some sort of soft launch when they could have really capitalized and like blown it up.
Yeah, and isn't it? It's kind of funny to think that, you know, this is kind of an investment on the name, not the actual player, because the 4 guys listed haven't won in who knows how long.
Yeah,
I think over a year.
Like, how is Scotty Scheffler not on that list? He's already had the career that Justin Thomas has had. Over like in the last 2 years, he's done what Justin Thomas has done in a decade. He's pretty close to Jordan Spieth's career already. Rory hasn't won since when on the PGA Tour? Hasn't won a major in over a decade. Like it truly like it's the boys club. It's Tiger Woods, it's Rory, it's Jordan, it's Justin. Like, what are we doing here? Are they just going to give them? Should they already just announce that Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas are on next year's Ryder Cup team?
Probably. Because those are the 2 guys. Like Rory's a little more like he still competes. I mean, Jordan and Justin have competed in a few events in terms of like being close to winning it. But I think those are the 2 just most recognizable names because Tiger and Rory are definitely a world above in that aspect. Like, if you ask anybody golf, depending upon when they really got into it, it was Tiger Woods, and then from probably 2012-ish to now is Rory McIlroy. Now, whether or not he's won is the different story, but like that's the name. People are like, I want to be like Rory McIlroy. That was the name that came up. But then Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth are the 2 I think that kind of emulate what the PGA Tour itself is, and those are 2 names that they can't afford to lose.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't think either of those dudes would have made the jump anyway. Do you think Jon Rahm would have been on that list had he stayed on the PGA Tour?
I bet his payout would have been slightly more. I bet he would have been between at level Rory with Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, or right below Rory and above those 2.
But see, that's just they're paying for names because Jon Rahm and Scotty Scheffler the last 2 years have basically carried golf single-handedly. Justin Thomas has been out here shooting 83s and missing fucking cuts and praying to get on Ryder Cup teams. He has not accomplished anything like that. That is the difference between golf, I think, and other sports in general. Is other sports are very what have you done for me lately? Golf, everybody holds on for years and years. Like somebody can suck for a decade, Rory, and look at even the odds makers, and the odds kind of directly reflect, you know, the public sentiment about players. Every week, Jordan Spieth, Rory, and Justin Thomas are at the top of all, not the top, but they're top 10 to 15 odds of every single PGA Tour event. And yet, when the last Rory hasn't won definitely this year. Did Rory win last year?
Yeah, didn't he win or was that 2 years ago?
Did he win in the playoffs?
Won the Canadian Open?
Well,
remember when that was
Nick
when
Taylor won the Canadian Open.
Sorry, so it was 2 years ago.
Yes. And I know Justin Thomas hasn't won in a couple years. Jordan Spieth hasn't won in a couple years. So it's just really like, what are we doing here, man? I mean, Scotty Scheffler, don't get me wrong, he's got plenty of money. He's not worried about that. Like, he doesn't care about money anyways. They should take Scotty's money and give it to everybody else if he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care. They're like, bro, you got to buy a new car or we're taking your money away.
Real quick note on Scotty is, do you think he's going to take like significant time off once his wife actually has this kid?
Maybe he'll retire.
Like, do you think
that would be one of the?
Oh my god, that'd be insane.
What if he's like, I have enough, I'm out?
So Rory won the Scottish Open, Genesis Scottish Open, so kind of a win in 2023. 2022 in October, he won the CJ Cup.
Doesn't
Yahoo.
count.
And then he won the Tour Championship in 2022. So basically 2023 and 2024 are no-goes for him.
Oh, yeah, I mean, same with Jordan and Justin. So, yeah, just a wild list. Just a bunch of names that are irrelevant in the actual golf world day to day now.
Yeah, but getting paid. And now, the funny thing is they're like trying to compete, and then there's a tweet below that tweet that I was just talking about where it's like, it says, many people are missing the point. These payments aren't meant to compete with LIV, as the PGA Tour can't do that. Instead, they are meant to reward players who stayed loyal and decrease the likelihood that others jump ship. Scotty, Victor, Homa will all get paid too.
Okay.
So that's basically just the fish dangling of like, okay, they tried to lean into the legacy mode, and now they're like, okay, here's money.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, oh, please don't leave. Yeah, the PGA Tour just one of the most poorly run fucking organizations along, but it feels that way with a lot of major sports. So I guess who would you, I think we discussed this, but who do you think out of all the major sports is the best run league? Football?
I would say that because like they have the most viewership, but if all things are equal viewership wise, I think it's probably basketball.
Yeah.
Like, basketball is the most well run in terms of.
Adam Silver is the least hated commissioner.
Yes, exactly.
Jay Monahan's at the bottom of that list. Like, Roger Goodell screws some people over, but imagine him making a deal with a Saudi Arabian billionaire out of nowhere to and keeping all of his people in the dark to it. Like, he would be hated 10 times more than he is right now.
Yeah, which just doesn't seem possible.
Yeah, that would make Deflategate look like a fucking ice cream cone.
All right, let's wrap this pod up with a weekly rendition of Fairway or Fore. I'll start us off this week. I think you maybe do this, but I don't know if someone like if this is like a normal thing. It's definitely not for me.
Okay.
When people speak of distances in miles instead of minutes, it's crazy to me. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I need to get to work today. Like, how far is your work from your house? 10 miles. Like, people say that.
I do that.
Yeah, that's crazy. It should be 15 minutes.
But time can change.
I understand that. I'm just saying maybe I don't have the mental capacity to handle a mile. But like miles to me mean almost nothing. Tell me how long it's going to take me to get there, not how long I'm driving.
But time all depends on how far you're going in the traffic.
I understand.
So when people ask how far away from work you live, you say 20 minutes on a good day, 40 minutes on a bad day.
I say usually about 20 minutes.
That's not. You're giving an amount of time. You're not giving it. When somebody asks you how far, that is directly correlated to a number, a distance.
I understand that. I'm just saying I don't have the mental capacity when somebody tells me it's 10 miles to really understand how far that is.
It's 10 miles.
Yeah, but are you driving through
52,800 feet.
Are you driving? Oh, it is. That's pretty good. You're driving through city streets. Are you driving on a highway? Are you driving? I would rather somebody just tell me how many minutes it takes me roughly to get
Big
there.
brain shit would be saying like this far as the crow flies, but also actually like this distance drive wise.
Yeah, that part always confuses me too. So I'm
because I think your house is only like 5 miles from here directly.
Yeah,
but I think it ends up being like 7 or 8 miles with the full drive because you're not
straight shooting it. Not
correct.
Straight shooter.
You're not flying over all the trees and shit.
So Fore, you definitely disagree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Marissa, what do you think? How do you describe things?
I don't give time or miles because then I have to commit myself to something. So I just say I'll get there when I get there.
Well, no, but like if somebody asks you how far you live from work.
I do minutes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I kind of do both. I'm like 7 or 8 miles, so like 20 minutes. I kind of like do both in my head. So whatever, I get where you're coming from now, but at the same time, I guess it's more of like an OCD thing, not OCD. I have to be precise. I try to hold myself to that standard where I'm not bullshitting anybody,
Right.
but myself. Bullshit myself all the time. So the other day I was at the park throwing your dog the ball, and I saw this dude throwing a Frisbee, and as I kept going further and further, I realized he was not throwing the Frisbee to anybody. He had 3 Frisbees and he was practicing his location of the Frisbees he was throwing. So I think that was Frisbee golf.
Oh,
I think he was practicing
range time.
Yes, it was like his driving range at the park. So my Fairway or Fore, and for some reason, you can tell me if you remember this. I may have asked this before, but is Frisbee golf real? Like, is it a sport? Do you call it disc golf? Is that
It's
the
disc
official
golf.
disc golf? I think, is it offensive to say Frisbee golf?
I don't think so.
I think the
I don't
disc
know.
golf community gets offended.
I mean, yeah,
Would that check out?
probably.
They're a little sensitive
It's
about
like
their...
it's like pickleball people, you know. They're a little.
Yeah. Spencer's a pickleball guy.
I know.
which
I'm a
checks out.
pickleball guy, but I'm not a pickleball gatekeeper.
You don't... Oh, okay.
You know, like I'm not gonna puff my chest out about my pickleball skill or what you should do during pickleball.
First thing we did was you mansplained the rules of pickleball to me when we went and
We were
played.
playing in a league, and I was trying to tell you what to do.
That's
Sorry.
gatekeeping.
Yeah, that's not gatekeeping. That's telling someone the rules.
They did puff their chests out though, and like him and RK walked in one day that they were like a team. So I don't
Yeah.
really-
Did they have their paddles in their hands?
yeah,
Like,
totally. And I even saw him like do a little spin with his.
oh
you
my
know?
Oh,
God.
Jesus.
That. Actually, what's funny though, think about it relative to golf. People think you're gatekeeping in golf when you're just trying to tell them the rules.
Yeah,
Right?
right. But golf is also, I
There's a
guess it
lot more
depends.
rules.
Well, no, it just depends. If you're playing competitively in any sport, you need to be aware of the rules before you play. No matter
That's
what.
true. I wouldn't call the Volo League competitive, but
Oh no, I'm just saying. Look, yes, maybe you're correct on that, but like if the other team is taking it
Yes,
seriously, you
yeah,
have to play the other rules in order to keep the game fair. If neither of you care who wins, then you just fucking slap it around. Who cares?
well, we
Step
showed
on the
up and
line.
didn't even end up playing the team. We were
Step
supposed
in
to-
the kitchen.
Yeah,
Who cares?
get in my kitchen. But Fairway or Fore, Frisbee golf,
I think it's a
disc
real
golf.
sport.
You think it's real?
Yeah, I think it's very niche. It's like bowling to me, where
So-
it's like
I
very,
think that's a knock on
Well,
bowling. I think that's disrespectful.
So Christian actually called a whole season of Frisbee for DU.
No shit.
Yeah, it was like a full thing.
For like the actual game of Frisbee though, with like people running and shit.
So he's done both. He's done the disc golf and he's done regular Frisbee.
Is this a club sport or an actual sanctioned?
I think it's club, but I think it was like a big deal because he got paid a lot of money to broadcast it.
No
so,
shit.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, disc golf is pretty fun to watch because similar to like being not a great golfer and watching PGA Tour players like shape the ball and shit. When you see somebody throw a Frisbee and it curves like back and forth through the trees and then it ends up at your target, that I would say that's a talent.
yeah.
But at the same time, throwing a Frisbee feels pretty menial to me. Like what? I feel like I could get good at Frisbee golf in a week.
Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty bad at throwing a Frisbee in general, but Frisbee golf to me would just be too close to like trying to play real golf where I would just hate it. Like if I tried to play it. I've been invited a few times.
Do you throw a Frisbee open-handed or back?
I think it depends upon which way you want to curve it. Draw is this way. Hook or cut is
Okay, I throw it in to out. Is that?
Oh, but I guess you can also draw it that way too. I don't know. I don't know the physics of Frisbee.
Yeah, I would be interested to see some real stats on Frisbee golf.
I'll start YouTubing Frisbee golf. And
No, I'm out. Isn't Brody Smith like the Frisbee dude that's like super famous?
I've never heard of him.
You never never
Maybe that's the
No,
point.
okay, I think his name's Brody Smith, so he could be a long lost cousin of ours.
Oh, maybe we'll have to hit that up. We are the Smith Bros. We are the Golf Bros. We're going to enjoy the weekend watching the Zurich Classic, a lot of playoff basketball, the quad box. The quad box that YouTube TV's got going on is incredible right now. Just
Goated.
playoff games. I love the first round is probably, actually the second round is probably my favorite of all. Like,
It's a little
'cause
more competitive.
yeah, like the 1-8s aren't happening. It's competitive, but there's still enough on to where it's always on, not overlapping.
Similar to like NFL playoffs. I think the first weekend's quantity, second weekend's quality,
Yeah, so
but
we're gonna
also
be
a little bit of quantity.
We're going to be deep into the Zurich Classic. We'll be back Monday. Have a great weekend. Make sure to hit us with a like on the way out. Thumbs up, subscribe. Big Drive Energy Golf on YouTube, at Big Drive Energy Pod on Insta, Big Drive Energy on Twitter and TikTok. We're out.
Peace.
Peace.